Well, hello, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to my live stream. I titled this Last Night Was a Line in the Sand. Listen, last night was different. I did a live stream, and if you were there, then you saw it. And I did mention last night that the live stream was for me. This live stream was for me. It really wasn't to entertain anyone or to just really wasn't for anyone. It was just like a my declaration, my something that has been stirring in my soul for quite a while now. It was after midnight. I was in my robe. I was in my bed. I didn't have any notes. Like I have some notes today because I don't want to. I want this to be short and sweet, and I don't want to ramble, but I want to just take a minute to explain that what it was. It was a declaration from my soul. It was, oh my God, it's the moment that if I have ever known beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was embodying what I teach, if there had ever, I don't think I had any doubts ever, but if there was a moment that I felt 1,000% sure that I am actually embodying what I teach, it was that live stream last night. And I wanted to go live and mark that moment for myself because something in me shifted. And like I said, it had been stirring in my spirit, it had been stirring in my thoughts, it had been stirring in the way that I am in my being for a while. I can't even say, oh, a couple of weeks or a few months, a while. And at the end of last year, it had me feeling like, I love my business, but I'm not loving my business. And why is that? And for a while, you can ask some of my clients, and I would be like, I know that I am amazing at sales. I know that it's like a thing that comes natural to me. I know that being able to speak while I understand human behavior is a superpower. It's a superpower that I don't take lightly, right? Because I also teach my clients that the only thing that separates you from using your powers for bad and manipulation and awfulness is your value system. So, knowing how to sell, knowing how to communicate and persuade people is a superpower. I don't teach that to people that want to use it for bad to manipulate and take advantage of people. But the truth is that it is a superpower. And in that in that place of knowing that sales is a superpower because it's all about persuasion and it's all about embedding commands in other people that make them want what they already wanted just at like at a faster accelerated rate. Like we're not selling people anything that they don't want to buy. We're not forcing people or twisting their arm to buy something from us that we want to sell them for our own purposes. We're only here to facilitate someone doing what they already want to do. They already wanted to do this for their own reasons. And even though I know all of that, I was like, I just don't want women to come to me because they want to make more money. Because even though I know all of that is true about sales, what I also know is that it didn't matter how many techniques, how many tactics, how many strategies. And I personally do not believe in scripts. So I have never given my clients scripts, even though they beg for them. Yes, there's a blueprint. You should know what to do, right? It's like eating at a restaurant or whatever. Like there are different placements and different utensils that are going to use for salad, for desserts, for the soup, for whatever. You should know in what order to use these. You should know in any other aspects where there is a hierarchy or like an order of things. You should know the order of things. You should know the order of a conversation. You should know what to say to make a conversation flow. I get that, but I don't want you to be scripted. Like you should know here, you're going to do this, and then you're going to do this, and then you're going to segue into this part, and then you're going to go deeper. And then it's all going to flow into a conversation. But all of that to say, it doesn't even matter if I give you the blueprint or the outline on how to communicate and how to have a conversation that converts, because confidence was missing, clarity in even what you do. The amount of women who I ask, what is it that you do? And they're like, God, Linda, I don't know. It's just this and this and that. And I know that you know, because I used to be in that place years ago when people would ask me, what do I do? I'd be like, I don't know. Some coaches would say, what's your methodology, Linda? What's your signature method? And I'd be like, I don't know. People just sit in front of me and their lives change. But their lives changed not because I taught them how to sell. Money and uh, better revenue and consistent cash flow became a result of these other things that were in the way. And so I didn't lead in my business with the transformation that happens for the entire woman, even though I've written post after post after post about the results that women get, the things that high performing women deal with, which is the same thing that high performing men deal with. I just don't coach men. Even though I coach men, I will very, very strategically choose a man that I want to work with, but I don't market to men. So for all intents and purposes, I don't work with men, right? And who knows, I might just say I really don't work with men, because I made that decision last year. I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to be open to men filling out an application and working with me. And anyway, long story short, these are the problems that any high performing person deals with. Like, so amazing at their career, so amazing at what they do, so amazing at growing the bottom line, so amazing at managing multi-million-dollar budgets, so amazing at growing that, so amazing at hopping on board the vision of whoever the company vision is, and getting people on board, right? Because like the people who lead are not usually the visionaries, and vice versa, and there's different roles. And so whoever that high performing person is does all those roles well. They're the visionary, they're the CEO, they're the leader, they're the this, they're the person that facilitates that, whatever it might be. And they come home and they have problems. They have problems in their relationship. They probably are not having sex. They don't have the respect of their children, or they walk on eggshells around their children because their children are now adults. And some of them, the children manipulate them to a great extent, like give them guilt trips about all sorts of shit. Like, you owe me this and you got to do this for me, and I'm not ready, and I need more money from you. Or they feel guilty about letting an adult kid go. Like, you're 29, you're living in this house with your wife and your 3 kids. Like, you never have had your own place, and the marriage is struggling. So I've often asked my clients, like, why do you think your 29-year-old son is living at home with his wife and his 3 kids and has never gotten his own place for his wife? He's basically been there since high school. They got married and they came to live with you. What are you and your husband avoiding by keeping your son there, even though it's a pain in the butt, even though you don't like it, even though it's you think it's affecting your marriage, but I think your marriage has already been affected, and you're hanging on to your son and his wife and his 3 kids living there, because when he moves out, you and your husband will have to face some things about your marriage while you're living alone, and that is difficult, right? So there's the person that comes home and they drink a whole bottle of wine. Like, I don't know, depending on the bottle of wine, you could finish off a bottle of wine with 3 glasses or 4, but like, it's not difficult to drink a whole bottle of wine. And so the person who's eating too many gummies, THC, yes, or actually getting high, like rolling joints and doing all that, or having uh illicit relationships. Maybe it's a married person, or it's just somebody who's, it's not the one, and it's actually really toxic, but it's such a cool place to go release and unwind there. Or like, there's so many things. So you're having problems overeating, or you're just tired all the time, and there's other things happening, like you haven't checked your hormones, and you could probably benefit from having some hormone replacement, whether it's for women estrogen and testosterone, for men testosterone. Like there's so many things. It's a whole person. It's not just this high performing human being. And what I know is that that's really where my secret sauce is. That's really my special thing, is that I coach the entire woman. And it's not that I teach her sales. That's actually nothing. And so, like last night I was saying that being in sales and jumping into business the way that I jumped in and hiring men coaches to coach me, like I don't regret any of that. Everything helped me to get to where I'm at. And also I picked up these little parts of my personality, like little extra personas or extra layers of my persona that really don't need to be there. And the more time that I've been thinking about what's happening with me, the more that I think that many women over 45, normally a lot of women will be like, I'm reinventing myself. And what I'm finding is that the reinvention is because they are letting go of parts of themselves that they are being, that they don't want to be anymore. And they're actually picking up something that was always inside of them, something that was always there. Whether they had to put it on the back burner when they started having children because the mom gene kicked in and you're a good mom. So you put your dreams aside or whatever. And then now the kids are all gone and now you want to do this with your life. Or you're just transitioning out of your first career and you're like in your early 40s, you're a retired military officer, which I had a client like that. And, she's starting, like she had a toddler and then it's like, well, who am I? And what do I want? And what do I do? And it's not really a reinvention as much as it is an acceptance of coming home to like who you really are. And when you truly are in that place of this is who I really am, there's no questioning your purpose or like what am I here to do or what do I do next? And if there is that question, it's not from a place of lack and loss. It's from a place of, I need a little help from someone that can be a sounding board that I can bounce things off of and I can get to the level that I'm going to because I know that there is a next level for me. So becoming the person that God actually created you to be out the gate before life beat you up, before you made really costly mistakes that cost you decades of your life, because they didn't seem like mistakes at first. They didn't seem like mistakes at first. You were riding high on the emotion of how good this felt, and then it was like awful a decade in, and now you were like all in, and you fell into the sunk cost fallacy, and you were like, well, I'm already here. It's been 10 years, let's just make the best of it. And then like you made more decisions that brought more heartache, and it was like just not the best decisions. And we look back and we're like, even though they weren't the best decisions, even though it feels like a mistake now, I wouldn't be here without that part of me. Like Kem has a song, it's called Heaven. And there's a part of it, there's a lyrics in the lyrics that says, something's happening to me. The man I used to be, he's gone. He gave up his life so I could go on. And so that's what it is. That person brought you here. That person who made those mistakes and they felt good in the moment and they were amazing. They're part of your journey and part of your story. There were parts that you regret, right? Hindsight is 2020. But there were amazing things in that too. So that's why really nothing is time lost. It helps to bring you here to who you are and you get to decide like what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so, my mom used to always tell me, Linda, you should be doing this. And because my mom is super Christian, she wanted me to be doing this from whatever this is, my calling, my calling on my life. She wanted me to be walking in my calling from the front of a church, like from a pulpit, from the altar, and from like saving the masses with this message that God was going to, speak through me and use me as a vessel. And I would be telling her all these years, Mom, I do that. I literally do that. Like if what I had wasn't coaching, it'd be called a church. It'd be, like what I do changes women's lives, and it changes not just their life, but their kids' lives, their entire generations. Like they get to teach these things that they learn with me, mom. They get to they have reframes and they think differently, and it's just amazing, mom. I am doing what God called me to do. I just don't think it's going to be from the front of a church, from the altar, or from the pulpit. Um, because that that version that my mom was projecting onto me, she's my mom. She wants the best for me. In her eyes, that's the best for me. But I don't know if that's what God called me to be. And if it is, I'll eventually end up there. But I always have known that I am not a version that fits the mold. I never have been. I've never been the person that waits for the perfect moment. I've always practiced in courage. I've always exercised my power and my presence when I didn't know that it was power and presence. Um, like I remember in my early 30s, my ex-husband had a friend, they grew up together, and this guy owned a company. He did software. He was a coder. So it was like software sales and stuff like that. And I was in Mary Kay Cosmetics, and I had earned free cars already with the company. And whenever he would call the house, or if I would answer the phone, he would get on the phone with me for briefly, and he would say, Linda, you're so amazing at what you do. Like, you're so great at sales. Like, I don't want you to have a Mary Kay car. Like, I'll put you in a BMW 850. And like, I just want you to go broker some deals for me. Like, and I'm like, I'm not a software salesperson. Like, that's very masculine. And so, even though I didn't say those words, masculine, like, I've never liked anything that's manly. Like, I'm not going to put up pictures on the wall. I'm not going to mow the lawn. I'm not going to do things that, whatever, like, call it what it is. I'm just a very traditional woman. So I'm like, I'm not going to sell software. Like, I don't even know how to do that. And it doesn't light me up. But like selling women makeup, playing with makeup as a grown woman, and earning free cars with a company that was paying me to like enrich women's lives in this way, that was fun to me. And what I've been thinking since like maybe the last quarter of last year to now, like with intention, is that I've always liked doing girly stuff, and I've always liked to do what's fun. And I don't want business to feel hard, because anytime it feels hard, it starts to become, I don't know, hard. I don't know what else to say. And I know how to make money with just my essence, with who I am. But one of the things that my husband's friend said to me then, and the reason I veered into this part of the little story, is because I said that even when I didn't know it was called power and presence, he was the first person to say to me, he said, Linda, when you walk into a room, you suck the air out of it. Like, people have to look. That's you. Like, I can't teach anybody to do that. And you need to know that you have that power. And I was like, that's weird. I was like in my early 30s. He was a little bit older. And I just didn't get that. But I get that today. I understand the power that God gave me in every part of my being, in every little crevice and corner of my body, even though I'm not selling sex, right? I'm not selling sex, but I am a woman. I am made differently. So when I talk and I move, like, everything about me is sending off a frequency. It's giving off. The person who's watching this right now is feeling something or not. But even if they're not feeling, they're feeling something that they don't want to feel, and they're jumping off the live stream. Right. So, like, I want to be more in that power and that presence that doesn't require me to be in my makeup. That's why I did it last night after midnight in my robe. And last night was just like, I don't know, the foundation for something bigger than a brand. It's like a culture for women like us, the women who are not satisfied with surface level success, because they check off the boxes. Like, at this point, okay, fine, you know how to make $100,000. Great. Okay, great. Okay. And that's not fun anymore. And before, it was like the thrill of the chase, kind of, because it's very masculine. In order to grow a business, you have to be in your masculine, right? And so the women who want more from their life and from their business, they want soul, they want to be felt intentionally. They want power, but not from a power of I rule. The power to have create legacy, the power to know that when you meet a man, he's not just choosing you, you're choosing him. And a man who is on board your vision and you on board his. And together, there's still like a whole nother life that you can live. So many people, especially men that I've spoken to that are 50 and older, like they feel like they're so close to the end. And so many of them don't take care of their health. Um, and unfortunately, some feel like um, a woman a woman needs to be in their life to take care of them, to give them their vitamins, and to da 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 da. And I'm like, why can't you be inspired to be the best version of you while you're single? Why do you need this person? And at the same time, because I am a traditional woman, I believe that a good woman in your life is going to get your shit all the way together. You are going to drink the protein shakes in the morning. You're going to stop doing all that shit. You're going to start moving your body. You're going to, right? So why not believe that this is not like the beginning of the end? Like this is literally the second act, and it can be so juicy and so amazing. And whatever it is that you intentionally create with it, it can have substance. Like the other day, one of my clients was listening to another coach speak, and she was like, Linda, I hear people like her speak and stuff. And I think they're a little bit too wordy, they're too much. And the only reason I could pick up some of the powerful stuff she was saying is because I already have a keen ear, because I've been in the coaching space for so long. But truly, some other people could just like it go over their head because she was just talking too much. And I remember a time in my business where the power of the words that I was saying, the transformative power of what I was conveying, was lost in the wordiness, was lost because I didn't know how to speak with intention. And realizing that, what is it? Less is more. That there's a time and a place for me to pause so that it can land for you. And if it's not landing for you, I am the coach here, and I can guide the conversation, and I can ask the questions so that I make sure that the thing lands, that the reframe is reframing, and that you literally have an insight that creates permanent transformation. Because insight always has a sound. Insight always sounds like, huh, or a variation of that. It's hardly ever words, but it could be wow. But it's hardly ever that, because wow, like doesn't register in our brain like it's something deep. But whoa, that's insight, and transformation is locked inside of insight. So throughout these years that I've been a coach, I've gotten better at the skill of coaching, and better at the skill of facilitating a conversation that creates lasting transformation, immediate behavior modification that is permanent. And so that's substance. That's more than just sales coaching. That's more than a high performance coach. I was communicating with my clients inside of our private Telegram channel Saturday, and I was like, I spoke to a lady today, and it was a difficult conversation for her to hear. It was not difficult for me, but I was like, look, I am not a high performance coach. I am a fire breathing dragon. Do you know that the Bible says that gold is refined in the fire? Like, you can't be a beautiful piece of gold if you don't go through the fire. And the fire burns all of the things, impurities down, and leaves this beautiful, shiny thing that you can mold now. So I'm not scared to go in the heat because I was forged from it. Like some people are born with whatever distinctive um, gifts and talents and skill sets and strengths. And apparently, life set me up to go through the fire and come out. I'm not scared of the fire, but I don't save anybody. But I do go and I stand in the fire with you to let you know, like, this is refining you. This is refining you. This is not destroying you. And we come out on the other side as gold. So, last night I said a bunch of things. I talked about a movement. I talked about, I'm always going to be a brand, right? I talked about my first name and my middle name. And I feel very called to lead with that because there's a change coming. I kept my ex-husband's name for years while I was raising the kids. And the kids are adult now. I don't need that name anymore. And so until I do a legal name change, I want to be leading with a name that's already legally mine. My first name and my middle name, which is Linda Ibelis. And yeah, I made notes because I didn't want to go all over the place, but apparently I could be a little bit all over the place. um, I'm super excited. This movement is something about courage. Yeah, the power table it's a great name for our thing. And it could change, it could evolve, but I'm already leading programs inside of the power table like Sales Dominatrix. And we're going to be launching House of Icons and just so many things that coach the entire woman. That coach the entire woman. And who knows? If one day I enter an amazing relationship and the relationship is relationshipping, then we can do courses together or coach couples or be a wonderful model for what an amazing marriage is or whatever. But I'm not there. However, I'm open to that because of what I said of all these little uh, layers of the persona that need to come off. Like, I don't need to lead with strength, even though if you fuck around, you're going to find out. But I don't ever need to do that. I don't need to, I don't need to lead with strength. And I know that women who are strong became strong because we needed to survive. We needed to make it happen. But women who are strong are still in survival mode. But a powerful woman is a difference. There's a big difference in a powerful woman, a woman who leads with power, a woman who doesn't have to speak and she can step into a room and, like my ex-husband's friend said, and suck the air out of it. Um, Someone who just has presence, someone who doesn't have to demand respect. She commands it, right? And all of that, like even the picture that used to be here, that was a picture of my backside. That was me like being rebellious about all the sexual shame that I grew up with from my parents who were super religious, who thought, hey, that's horrible and that's not acceptable. And they forced me to get married when I was 16. And all of this, like, I am a woman. And I love everything about being a woman. So why do I have to wear turtlenecks or like nobody was telling me that, but that was so ingrained in me, the modesty. And there's nothing wrong with being a woman. If you want to show your butt all the time or wear however kind of clothes, that's you too. It's not me, but that's what makes her feel good. And if she came to coach with me, we would discover what areas of her life and what beliefs she's holding that makes her feel that her value is in dressing that way or in exposing so much of her body. And I am 52 years old. I am not 30. And even when I was 30, I didn't dress like that. But I know that women can wear whatever they want. I just am against the shame because normally the thing that you're most ashamed about is actually where your superpower lies. And yeah, I feel super grounded into this shift. And as I feel more comfortable sharing more about my own journey, I will share because I've always been very transparent. I don't have a problem being vulnerable, but I'm never going to use social media as my diary because that's not what it's about either. I'm here to lead a movement of women who want to live lives that they love. Like, I want every woman to love her life. And yeah, I love working with results driven women because that woman is used to doing things and seeing them through to the end. She's used to finishing what she starts. So this woman went to college at whatever age, whether it was right out of high school or it was as an adult. She finished. She had the degree, check. She got the career, check. She's got the husband, check. She's got the kids, check. She's got whatever the house, check. She's got the whatever. She is whoever she is in church. She is whoever she is in the community. Like, and there's a new certification and a new this and the Chamber of Commerce for women in medical and the Chamber of Commerce for women in engineering and the Chamber of Commerce for women in construction and like what she's got it all the things like she's a badass. And also being a badass is not her superpower. And even though she has all of that, there's still something that feels like it's off. Like, why do all the accolades that I have, why do all the achievements that I have are not like making me feel amazing inside? Or maybe they're not even lining up to some money in the bank account. All of that. I'm here to lead a movement of women um, just like me who have checked off all the boxes, who know how to do all the shit, and they still are like, and you want to live a life that you love. And we're grown. We talk about every topic. We coach the whole woman in here. We get grown and we get open. And so that might not be amazing for some women. And that's fine. This is not the place for you. But this movement is not just mine, it's ours. And if it's for you, then you've been totally activated by this conversation. And you probably watched my live stream last night. And I'm so excited to continue to see what the rest of this year holds. But there's going to be a whole lot of shifting happening in April, especially with my name, right? And as we start to create momentum around creating a culture, a movement for women like us. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. I appreciate you. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below or send me a DM. Bye.